rakan media. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat pagi. Pertama saya dimaklumkan bahawa pada pagi ini ada ramai partisipan daripada luar negara. Jadi saya Khazanah izinkan saya berucap dalam bahasa Inggeris. Ucapan saya pun disediakan dalam bahasa Malaysia, tapi setelah mendengar berucap dalam bahasa Inggeris, saya rasa saya akan translate ucapan bahasa Malaysia di dalam bahasa Inggeris. Saya berharap mungkin saya translation to English.
Monitoring ni?
So, first and foremost, I'd like to thank Yang Berbahagia Tuan Abdul Khazanah for the honor of speaking at this morning's event. Delighted to see so many familiar faces. As you know, Khazanah is our sovereign wealth fund. It's good to see what has happened and transpired today, and is announcing its sustainability framework and also the targets for today. So together with the pledges made by the government, this demonstrates Malaysia's united stance and commitment to sustainability. So, ladies and gentlemen, the sustainability mega trend cannot and should not be overlooked. The world, as you all know, is in the process. And if we do not correct our course to avoid potential climate disasters and also societal inequalities, we will have failed in our role as stewards for the future generations. So this is not an issue that can be ignored. We are increasingly seeing the impact of extreme weather events in Malaysia. Recently we saw the floods that have impacted thousands of people's livelihoods and also damaged critical infrastructure, and concerns about the welfare of factory and plantation workers have repeatedly made headlines in the press, and in fact it has tarnishing our international reputation. So both these issues have serious implications for Malaysia, its institutions, its businesses, and most importantly, its people. Today, the international investment community is increasingly focused on ESG-related risk opportunities, risk and opportunities, as mentioned by Faisal just now. And global funds, for example, do not shy away from divesting companies with unsustainable practices, encouraging the latter to embrace ESG to ensure that they do not lose access. Being allocated to businesses that have ESG practices, as well as companies that are riding the sustainability tailwinds, such as renewable energies and also social enterprises. Bloomberg Intelligence estimates that global ESG assets will reach $41 trillion by the end of this year, and will grow to $53 trillion by 2025. So this accounts for more than a third of the total assets under management. Capital market regulators around the world are also increasingly supporting this shift, often requiring companies to disclose their ESG practices and strategies and holding them accountable. So this rapid expansion is not only limited to developed markets, but we've seen even in Malaysia and of course Southeast Asia has also seen an increase in investor interest in ESG, and at times outpacing the global averages. According to a global investor study conducted recently, it was done by Schroders in 2021, 67 of Southeast Asian investors now prioritize social issues. This is higher compared to global averages of 57 and 66% on environmental issues, compared to global averages of 55%. So this data clearly indicates that a whole of nation approach to sustainability is required. If our companies are to remain competitive, we must galvanize our efforts towards better ESG practices. So this is how we as a nation move forward and deal with the uncertainty and risks that we face today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is critical that we work together and put our best foot forward in these trying times by embracing ESG to also aid our economic recovery. So the government, of course, recognizes this and has clearly stated our target in the 12 major plan. Our 12 major plan is stated that we want to revitalize the nation's socio-economic development with long-term sustainability as well as prosperity in mind. So among the key priorities outlined are firstly, of course, reducing greenhouse gas emissions to 45% of GDP, and this is by 2030 in line with the Paris Agreement. We also have a comprehensive national energy policy that will provide long-term guidance on achieving Malaysia's carbon neutrality goal. This is as well as the target to renewable energy to account for 31% of Malaysia's total energy capacity by 2025, this year, and also Petronas. The government has also reaffirmed its commitment to achieve carbon neutrality. This is by 2050, and therefore we urge all of you here, the GLCs and GLICs, to set medium-term and similar net zero targets. Our Prime Minister has also announced a number of other social initiatives aimed at improving workers' welfare. So this includes the increase in minimum wage to 1,500 ringgit, and this is for all, everyone, even civil servants and staff of GLCs and GLICs. And the government has also urged all listed GLCs, as mentioned by Khazanah just now, to achieve at least 30% women board representation by 2022. That's that reminded me that Telecom has met the target and has surpassed the target. So well done to Telecom. In terms of total aspirations, the 12 major plan envisions average monthly household income to reach 10,000 ringgit or 10,065 ringgit, and the economic gap between central and Sabah-Sarawak region to narrow by 2035. So collectively, this demonstrates the nation's commitment to supporting long-term ESG aspirations and improving the environmental and socio-economic condition for the 33 million of Malaysians. Therein, we must remind ourselves that the relationship between the environment and the communities within them are symbiotic, with one being ever closely linked to the other. So it is my hope that the government, of course, the Ministry of Finance, as well as all the other ministries and agencies, will equip Malaysia to accelerate the transition to a more sustainable economy. So, ladies and gentlemen, to help drive and sustain this ambition, we have announced a number of sustainability-related initiatives that will be implemented and undertaken in Budget 2022. These initiatives require intensive collaboration and also include implementation of green technology tax incentives. We have matching grants to further promote the use of sustainable raw materials and also renewable energy by the country's SMEs. This includes implementing specific financing measures. We actually have a 1 billion ringgit low carbon transition facility that is in Bank Negara, and as well as, I'm not sure whether Usama is here, but establishing a voluntary carbon market by end of this year. And of course, the government is planning to issue a ringgit-denominated sustainability sukuk of up to 10 million ringgit, including Chinese. In addition to Budget 22 measures, allow me to reiterate that recurring broad-based strategies and measures that will support our long-term ESG-based aspirations. So firstly, strengthening sustainability-related financing and investments. We implement UN SDGs by coordinating initiatives and programs that incorporate ESG elements. So this includes, firstly, as part of our overall effort to embrace the sustainability principle in public spending, the government, through MOF, has actually tagged all programs and projects under development expenditure to the SDGs in our annual budget. And this started last year. And secondly, I mentioned just now, we are going to implement the VCM, the voluntary carbon market. This is also in collaboration with CASA, our Ministry of Environment and Water. And cost together with Pusat, before transitioning to the domestic emissions trading scheme. So along with the announcement to establish the National GHG Centre to improve transparency in climate change data and reporting for the country, so this will actually boost low carbon investments. Thirdly, we want to monitor and make sure that it's executed. We want to drive action towards meaningful change at even the regulatory level. Bank Negara and the Securities Commission has jointly issued the Task Force on Climate Change Financial Disclosures. This is an application guide for Malaysian financial institutions, and this was in March this year. So following their recommendations, Bursa Malaysia has proposed changes to its listing requirements aimed at improving sustainability disclosures for listed companies across all sectors. So our strategy, Ministry of Finance, second main strategy, is to empower SMEs in the area of ESG. We know how important the SME sector is to Malaysia and also the economy. So it's important that we develop the capacity of our SMEs, which is a key building block to achieving our ESG aspirations and our net zero goal aspirations by 2050. Apart from targeted SME financing measures, this is aimed at assisting and enabling SMEs to incorporate ESG principles into their operations. We have launched the principles of good governance, which will be implemented by JLICs such as Khazanah. So this will ensure all the JLICs and the SMEs in their ecosystems are prepared to meet the growing demand of global markets. The third main strategy is to institutionalize ESG measures. So one notable example is the establishment of the Malaysia Sustainable Development Goal Trust Fund, so it's my SDG fund. It was launched earlier this year in collaboration with the United Nations. Initial contribution is about 20 million ringgit, and this major funding collaboration actually demonstrates our strong commitment to incorporate SDG principles into Malaysia's national development plans and policies, and also being transparent about the funds utilization. I'm also pleased to share that our position for 2023 next year remains firm in terms of enabling the implementation of ESG-focused development projects and programs. So we have outlined a few key priorities. We recently announced our pre-budget statement for budget 2023, and this includes Malaysia's strategic transition from the current recovery phase to longer-term reforms. So this includes facilitating better income opportunities and improve holistic well-being in order to achieve our broader Malaysia's vision of a more inclusive and also sustainable development. While this, if you look at it, these are promising foundations, it cannot be done in isolation. As mentioned just now by Dr. Faisal, lasting and sustainable reforms can only be achieved by utilizing the entire nation behind a common sustainability vision. So I hope with the participation of all parties, including the private sector, we can achieve this. So having said that, Ministry of Finance is confident that both public and private sectors will play their respective roles and contribute to the success of Malaysia's sustainability efforts and goals. So it is really encouraging to see Khazanah as well as other GLCs here, Telecom, PM, of course, Tenaga, Seri, Petronas, embrace the sustainability agenda by incorporating ESG into their core strategies and embedding it throughout their operation, and CSR as well, CSR initiatives. This is really walking the talk of leadership on ESG and sustainability. So these GLCs contribute to the mainstream of ESG by serving as role models, catalyzing change within their respective ecosystems, and encouraging the role of corporate Malaysia to consider how they behave and how their actions can affect the communities and also the environment within which they operate. So to the other corporates out there, as role, as the CEO of a bank, regional bank before, I can assure you that these efforts will not only allow the companies to be more responsible, but will also protect your company's interests in creating value by mitigating potential ESG and regulatory risk. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Malaysian government, I would like to congratulate Khazanah on the establishment of its sustainability framework and express my full support for its goal of shaping an equitable and responsible transition. So, while acknowledging the unique position of the companies under Khazanah's care, as stewards of some of the country's largest corporations, which employ thousands of people and I'm sure have impacts to millions more, a just transition is required to ensure that all stakeholders' interests are met and that any unintended consequences are mitigated. So I'm also pleased to see that Khazanah goals are consistent with the nation's objective and the standards set by other leading global ESG practitioners. So finally, it is my hope that Khazanah will continue to champion sustainability and act as a partner to its portfolio companies as we work to achieve our net zero target by 2050. So with that, dengan lafaz Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I hereby launch Khazanah's National Sustainability Framework and target. So terima kasih. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum.
Thank you very much, Thank you, Astro. I will now invite Datuk back on stage to officially launch Khazanah's Sustainability Framework and targets. Datuk, please hand over the plaque to signify our launch to our leader, Zafrul. Gentlemen, please remain on stage for a quick photo. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have come to the end of today's program. I would very much like to thank you all for gracing us with your presence today. And I hope we're all inspired by the discussions. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you as we collaborate on our sustainability journeys moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, we have prepared for lunch outside in the foyer. Please enjoy the fair and look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much.